Do not go for partnerships that will cause a strain on your business in terms of pressure. You don't want to partner with somebody who will say, I'm investing 50,000 Naira and I want it back next month. And you find yourself that you are not able to meet up the demand. Now it puts too much strain on your business. It puts too much stress on you, and it will suck out creativity. So there are different options that we can look at, but I think small businesses we really need to look at aspects such as partnering for profit shares. So I can bring the idea to the table, but somebody might have the resources and I can help them grow their money in that respect. But it always has to be a mutual agreement type of thing, no pressure whatsoever. And don't find yourself partnering with people who will actually pressurize you to pay money in a time frame where you're not certain that the business would have been profitable.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, this is a question that we get here a lot, and it's about partnership. So just because you talked about partnership now, I thought maybe we might be able to do a bit more justice to it, like we always do. When it comes to choosing a partner, what are the qualities that you really think that a business person should look out for? And not just looking out for these qualities, what strategies do you think if someone in business can put in place to be able to reach the right partner? What should the person do? So the first part of the question is, what are you looking for? What should you be looking for? What qualities should you be looking for in a partner or partners? And what do you need to do? How do you need to look, to be able to reach people with those kinds of qualities? So I really like to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay, so firstly, partnership should be in sync with your values. You don't want to be running your business with somebody who's not aligned with your values, your core values as a person. I would make an example with the value respect. You believe that people should respect each other. You value respect a lot. You cannot be in partnership with somebody who's not respectable. The partnership, though the resources and the skills might come together, but it might end up not working because now this person does not share the same values for life and business with you. So the first core thing is values. Is this person believing in the same set of values that I do? It does not have to tick all the box of values, but at least there should be maybe 80% commonness in terms of what you guys want to achieve, what you think out of life, how do you approach situations, how do you approach people. So sometimes partnership can come looking for you, sometimes you go looking for partnership. The second question, I think, is how do you find good partnership? Besides the fact that what do you look for, it's how do you find good partnership. Networking is a key. When you are in any person who's in business, whether you are a small business or a startup or a big business, networking is very important. So in you networking and exchanging ideas with people or communicating with people, that's where you identify the values. You identify, okay, this person is speaking like this about clients, or this person doesn't value client service much. They don't think that client service means anything much, and I value client service. So it means that we are going to clash when it comes to this. Or you sometimes find that I'm speaking to you and then we find common ground. We find something that excites both of us, something that speaks to our purpose as human beings. That's how you identify that this is somebody I can go into partnership with. So networking is key when it comes to finding partners. I remember with my business, I have a micro lending business here in South Africa. So I started it by myself. But then as time went, I noticed that, okay, I really want this to operate, but I don't have the capital for it. I have the skill, I have the experience, I can run with it, but I do not have the capital, I don't have the funds. And I was networking with somebody speaking about education, the education system in South Africa, what I would like to change and things that I would like to see being done differently. We found common ground. And this is how this person said, what else do you do? And then we spoke about the business that I do. And we found that this person has always been wanting to do it. They have the cash flow, but they don't have the ideology and the systems in terms of how do I run this kind of business. So we found common ground in terms of values. And I had the business idea, the implementations and strategies. He had the resources, so we could partner in that respect. So that's how you find partner. I think networking is one of the key things or key elements that any person who is in business should do. No matter how small it is, never undermine the people around you, because you never know what is going to connect you to people. Sometimes you are in a store somebody asks you about something and you become rude about it. Don't forget, wherever you go, you're a business person. That person could be somebody potentially who can invest in your business. And sometimes you're in church and somebody is crying about something. Just be kind. You don't know who this person is, what this person is saying.
Absolutely.
So sometimes our
Absolutely.
ignorance as business people is that we want to come zoning in and out of our roles. As a business person or as a business owner, you represent your brand. You're the first person who represents your brand wherever you go. So how you react to people, how you treat people will then determine how you will get your network of people around you or the people who will surround you. I always say, when I speak to people who are self-employed, that as a business person, you don't have the option to say, I am too shy. Many people will say, I will not approach people, I'll not speak about my business, I'll just sit there, people must come to me. That's not how the business world works. You must network with people. Even if you're shy, you must find a system that will work for you to say, after all the activities, this is how I regroup, this is how I pull back, and I can be shy in my house, but I cannot be shy in the taxi, I cannot be shy at church, I cannot be shy at my workplace, I cannot be shy at the shop. You are representing your brand. So how you represent your brand will also attract people towards you. That's how you would find partners. People will be like, this person is so energetic. What do they do? Then people want to find out more about what you do. And when they ask questions, then you can give answers. Sometimes by just asking somebody, how's your day going? What do you do? The person answering you might trigger them to ask you, what do you do? And then you can explain, this is who I am, this is what I do. And you find that this person has always been looking for somebody to partner with in that regard. Like I said, partnership is not always a matter of I am a director of your company, but it can be we have a common goal as people that we want to reach. How do we get there? I might be the vehicle, you might be the driver. One cannot operate without the other when it comes to partnership. I
That's
hope I
that's
answered your question properly.
yeah,
If
yeah.
not, you can
That was that was a lot of justice you did, because I think you, and I'm going to try to summarize what you said, which is really profound. Number one is, when you're looking for a partner, or what to look for is, if I mean is the issue of personal values. If your
Yes,
personal values align with the person's personal values, and then you now spoke about the business values. So I think a lot of people and a lot of businesses really go head on to see if the business values are okay, but they always forget about the personal values,
the
and they forget
personal.
that you're dealing with a person, and you are the one that
Yes.
is always going to be interacting with the person, and that is the
Mm.
person that will always interact with the business. So interestingly, just like you pointed out, and I think that this is a really amazing point. I mean, we should do a short video of this. Is that the personal values actually come first before the
Yes.
business values,
Mm.
and it's really really profound, because if the personal values align, chances are the business values will
Will.
align. Yeah, and
Yes.
even if they don't, it's just important to check for personal values and then check for business values, because I think
Yes.
that those are really key. And then you talked about networking. I think a lot of people do bad at networking, especially business people, because we can be so busy with the business that
Mm.
we forget that what can help the business is not just the busy. You can
Yes.
you can be great at something. You have a business, you're good at what you do and stuff, but the contract does not come there. The contract is outside. So sometimes
Yes.
you need to go to a hotel, just hang around the bar and find someone to chat with. You need to go to the beach, just chill with people and see how that works out for you.
Yes.
Like you said, in the taxi, in church, when you go out, you're an ambassador of your business. And I think that is really good, because business is not just about the competence.
Mm.
It's about the network, and how
Yes.
you're able to pull both your competence to match with the network that you have, which is a
Yes.
resource. In fact, it's a major resource, because
It
a
is.
lot of people don't even have the competence. What they have is the network, and they are
Yes.
able to cash out, you know, from the network, and go get people that have the competence to do the work.
Yes.
So that's really interesting, because I mean I'm beginning to come to terms with this as well, because I can be so busy too. I can be in the
Mm.
house or in the office for a whole month and not even step out and say I'm working on this project. I'm working on this very project. I think there are a lot of people like me. So
Mm.
and we're just beginning to learn that it's so important that you get out of your comfort zone And networking, you don't network. I mean, it's just like riding bicycle. You don't read
Yes,
about how to ride a bicycle. The way to learn how to ride a bicycle is to go and ride a bicycle.
true,
So
true.
that's how it works. So the way to learn how to network is to go out and network and
And network.
reach out to people and stuff like that. So I mean, you're really you're doing great justice to what we're doing. I'm enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you. If I can just maybe add also in terms
Yeah,
of what you're
absolutely,
saying about
absolutely.
personal
Absolutely.
values coming first. I think we are not all advantaged to know certain skills, things like your emotional intelligence that
Mm.
which I was talking about on Monday. We don't all have those skills. We don't all know or have access to such information. So what then happens is if the personal values are not aligned, or if it's not at least matching to some extent or common to some extent, we get into situations of conflict. And when we get into situations of conflicts, things just blow. That's where people quit their businesses. That's where people assume that partnership doesn't work at all.
Mm.
Some people will tell you, I'm so over partnering, but it's only because the person that you partnered with, the values were not in sync. We didn't believe on how we should conduct ourselves as people, how we should relate to each other as people. So because we didn't have common ground there, we will always bump into conflict. We'll always get into situations whereby one way or the other one spoke or addressed the other one roughly, the other one is too much in a hurry, the other one is a bit relaxed. If the
Yeah.
values are not aligned, you will always have conflict. But if values are aligned, automatically you address such things that are actually underneath. So you find yourself speaking a lot about those things because it's things that you share commonness on. But if you never really have the same or aligned values, you're never going to address the same things. So every time the business is in trouble, or not in trouble, facing a challenge, or every time you have to come around the table to discuss and agree about something, you are always going to be in disagreement because how you do things does not match. Does not mean that if I like my coffee, values does not mean that if I like my coffee black, you should like your coffee black also, but it just means generally as we behave as people, what do we believe is the right way to behave? What do we believe is the right way to say this is how we should address matters? And
Yeah.
values can be small things like cultural values as well, or
Mm.
traditional values, where maybe I'm in partnership with an African man and they say that women should not look men or older people in the eyes. Because every time I'm speaking to this person, I'm looking into their eyes. They might perceive me as a disrespectful person. Simple thing as that can cause so much conflict in the business that even though we were going to be successful, we end up not being successful anymore because this person is offended by the fact that I look them in the eyes. As a woman,
Mm.
according to his values, women should not look. If you look a man into the eyes straight, it means that you're disrespectful. So such
Mm.
things is very important. Some people
Mm.
believe in going to traditional healers for everything, for luck, for this and that, and then I'm coming in as a Christian partnering with somebody who uses such resources, and there will always be a clash somewhere because for every contract that we need to land, this person is going to want to go to their traditional healer and I'm going to want to pray about it.
Mm.
There's always going to be conflict, one way or the other. So
Mm.
it's really, that's the most fundamental point where you start thinking about a partner or who to partner with, is how in sync am I with this person? Can I relate to this person when we are speaking? Are we talking the same language? Don't be too desperate. Don't be too desperate just to get any partner, but understand that commonness is very important, especially when it comes to values. You
That's
also mentioned that we focus so much on the performance. We focus so much on the hardcore stuff, on being busy, spending time doing operational things. But a business needs to be a balance between the soft core things and the hardcore things as well. As much as you need your laptops, your systems and everything, you also need a mind. You also need a heart behind your business. So it's both a balance of passion and resources. And one or the other, you might find yourself at a point where you lack it. That's where somebody else can come in and support you, and the business then can prosper.
Mm. Mm. That's really amazing. It's really amazing. I mean, that's a lot. I'm trying to summarize, but it's a lot. I mean, and you spoke about the code. And here's the interesting thing, though, is when the values don't align, the business doesn't get done. So it's all effort in vain. So, I mean,
Yes.
why not find someone that has the same values as you do so that you can align so that your business can work? Because if the values don't align, then the business doesn't work. In fact,
Yes.
there's a bank, I mean, true story here. There's a bank in Nigeria, the bank folded up a couple of years ago. And the reason was because the two highest shareholders of the bank were having a quarrel,
Mm.
and that's what happened, and the bank went south. I mean, I think the quarrel was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think
Mm.
it was just an argument, and then it just escalated, and then they started talking. In fact, one of the consultants, because I know one of the consultants that usually work for the bank, he
Mm.
went to their hotel room. He held a meeting with both of them and said, "Look, you guys, if you don't fix this right now,
Mm.
it's going to affect the business and it is going to go south. If you leave the
Mm.
business and you leave the business is going to be nothing." And they both left the business. The bank went south. You
Mm.
know, I think they were bought over by another bank, and then it just and that's and I think we should pay attention. And I also think that something that might work is when you partner with someone, I think it's wise to not go into a very legal partnership in the first few months, or at least
Yes.
for a while, so that you
Yes.
can just do the business together. Let's see how it works, because you need to know the person. It's like a marriage, right?
Yes.
Uche will always say that partnership is like a marriage. You cannot,
Mm.
I mean, you have to agree. Two cannot work together except they agree,
They
right?
are in
We can't,
agreement.
we can't,
Yes.
we have to be heading the same place. And even if we're heading the same way, we have to be positioned the same way. So
Yes.
I think it's important that before business people go into legal partnership, they should go into, just regular partnership without
Yes.
signing documents or any of those kind of things. And let's
Mm.
see how we vibe with each other. Let's see how we relate with each other. Let's see how we synchronize. And if we don't, God bless you, God bless me. Let's go our ways and go find, you know, another business to do somewhere. Because
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
yeah, it happens a lot. And the reason it does is just like we're using the marriage model. You have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, for example, and you are seeing things that will scatter the marriage in the next couple of years, but you're keeping quiet about them. Because that's the point, to address those things and say, hey, if this is how you're going to keep doing this, I cannot be here. If this is how you're going to keep doing this, I cannot be here. If this is how I'm going to be doing this and you're not comfortable with it, then I don't think we can have a smooth relationship. And so I think the first few weeks and months of partnership should be a dating kind of thing, right? To check what kind of thing your partner agrees with and what it doesn't agree with. Because there are things that they will say, are you honest? Yes, I'm honest, right? Are you hardworking? Yes, I'm hardworking. Are you a nice person? Yes, I'm a nice person, right? But you probably not, so I need to work with you for a while to see that you're honest. The moment you say, you know what, this 1K, let's remove it from me and put it there, but you said you're honest, Chief. Now I know that you're not as honest as you say you are, right?
Yes.
So it is in
Yes.
the process of working together that I can say, okay, yeah, I mean, I know the kind of person you are, and I can do
Mm.
another kind of business with you, just not this one. So
Yes.
you're able to both keep the business and keep the
Mm.
relationship, because yeah, we can do a lot of things together. My boss will always say, don't close the door. I mean, never close a door. So it's important that you keep relationships. And so let's do the business in a way that if we break the business, we can still keep the relationship and the business can go
Yes.
on. Because if we
That's true.
just go on and do the business with values that really do not align, then it becomes a problem. And that's one of the things that made Paystack sell out at a huge amount of money. Paystack sold, I think, about $200 million, because the founders have been together for a long time. So
Sure.
business was just one of the things that they did. They did many things together. They probably
Yes.
went drinking together. They probably went partying together. So they are very much aware of their strengths, their weaknesses. They help each
Yes.
other. So they are friends that they are close. They know what each person know what the other person can do.
Yes.
So there was no problem as to how the business was going to work out. It's just one of the things that they did. And so
Yes.
it made the business to grow really fast, right? Because the partners were, very much acquainted with each other. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so
And
much for that.
sometimes
Yeah.
the thing is this, I entered into a business with a friend of mine. When you are with somebody with shared values, it makes it much more easy to even avoid future conflict. I entered into a business consultancy with a friend of mine. And as we were putting together the content of the business and we were setting context to say, okay, this is the direction we must head, this is what needs to happen, she noticed that it's not something that she's passionate about, and she felt like she's just going to be a bystander. So in one of our meetings, she told me, you know what, I value you as a friend, I value what we are doing together, but I realized that I'm going to be putting so much weight on you, and I do not want to compromise you as a person. So because this is somebody who's a friend, and this is somebody who can look out for me, and this is somebody with shared values together, she then said, I'm electing myself to come out of the business. It did not affect the business. It did not affect the friendship, because we share common values. We should be honest with each other as human beings.
Absolutely.
We should be fair. So, common values really solve a lot of problems when it comes to partnership.
Yeah, it does. It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for pointing that out. That's really profound stuff. We're having a party here, I guess. So here's another question, and I guess this is the final question for today. If we don't extend the question like we did the first one. So it says, "Good afternoon, sir. I run a photographic brand in Nigeria, and I have branches in 4 states currently. While the growing state of with the growing state of insecurity in the country, is expansion a good idea?" So I am going to tweak the question a bit. This question is from Obiora in Lagos. So I'm going to tweak the question a bit so that you have a broader context to it. So yeah, and I'm going to tweak it to just mean risk. I mean, there are many risks that you might need to look out for when you want to expand, because expansion is something to really to really pay attention to. So for a photography business that already has 4 states, that already has branches in 4 states in the country, and how does or what do you think are the risks of expansion when it comes to photography businesses like this? Because we hardly see this kind of businesses scale. Usually the photographer has a studio of his own, and that's it. If you want to see him, you go there and see him. But for a photography business to scale, that's something. There are only maybe 2 or 3 that I know in Nigeria that have done it successfully. So how does that work? How do you scale a skill like that? And is it even a good idea, given the risk in the state of insecurity and stuff? So what do you think? Let's hear your thoughts on this.
Honestly, I think going to expand before you optimize is a big risk. So if you are not at a point where you feel that you have reached your peak or optimal when it comes to the 4 branches already, you should not look at expanding. Rather, you should look at what can you do with your resources that you have presently to optimize on opportunity so that you can reach your peak. And then only then, when the 4 branches cannot reach the demand that is there, only then consider having other branches, because the risk that the business will then bump into is that I've used my resources, I've used my capital to source now a 5th branch, but then it's not making money as I expected. The person needs to try and do their research, and you do your research by engaging people more on social media or website. Make use of those resources to check actually, okay, how successful will it be if I take it that side? Sometimes we want to expand, but sometimes you need to downscale. I might be running 5 stores only to find that I'm using so much resources to pay rent for the 5th store, pay employees there, pay electricity bills and water taxes and so forth, that I could have actually used that money to fund marketing for the 4 stores that are actually there, or the 4 branches that are actually there, and then had maybe optimized more. You know, the person needs to look at the need. Is photography a huge need in that market that he wants to go and expand in? If photography is not such a big need, already it's not an industry that is very popular for being too big. So the person then just needs to focus on how can I optimize? How can I optimize as a business with the 4 that I have? It's not about the branches. It's not about having a place where people can physically come. Now everything is evolving. You know, we are wearing masks everywhere we go. It's the new normal. Everybody is now used to you wearing a mask. Where else previously, if maybe one person was wearing a mask, we would find it a bit weird. Why is this person now wearing a mask? But now when a person is not wearing a mask, we find it weird. Why is this person not wearing a mask? So things have changed a bit. And the way that it brings is that you need to try and find people or source clients in a way that is not conflicting to the particular situation that we're finding ourselves in as the world. I would advise that this person looks at ways to expand where he's actually at and reach the peak first, then analyze the market there first, and then consider to go into other areas. Having 4 branches, I think, for a photography brand is quite good. I would assume that the branches are some things like your studio. It's where your clients can come and take photographs, and it's where your clients can contact you. But maybe look at creating a portfolio website that you can actually promote on Google Adverts, that you can actually promote in the 4 branches that you have presently. Try looking at making use of social media platforms like your Facebook. Promote, you know, on Facebook now you can boost or promote your post to reach much more people. So maybe you can make a Facebook ad on your business that is more channeled to the state, or the you call it states, right? To the state that you want to reach people at. So if you want to reach people in a new state, rather do a Facebook post that will speak to those people, that promotes in that state, so that you can actually identify what's the demand there. And for now, focus on just maybe traveling with your resources and taking pictures there. Another good one on optimization is client referrals. So with the 4 branches that this person has, every client that comes in, he can actually run a promotion on referrals. So I take pictures for you, or whatever it is that I do, I print pictures and frame, or I expand your picture for you. Can you leave a referral? Is there somebody that you know that I can call? If you come with, or if you bring me 5 referrals, I give you a free photo shoot on your birthday, or I give you a free photo shoot on your anniversary with your wife, or I do a family shoot for you. So there's actually a lot of things that this person can do to optimize on the business where he's at, so that it can reach its peak. Another thing, we spoke about networking. Networking is important because then you can identify companies that is big on events. Then the person can actually pitch to go and cover the events. That's business outside the scale of people coming into your branches. I think everything is so much shifting from branch to online or virtual. So the shift in mindset should also be there for this person to say, let me try and optimize more on online platforms so that I can get more clients in. The clients will come in, and try and analyze the market there where you want to actually start the brand. I also noted down or jotted down brand awareness. What activities are there to create brand awareness in the branches that he has already, or that she has already? I think it's a he. So if you have the 4 branches, are you going out where it's busy in the centers or the CBDs, where you have your maybe brand ambassadors or activation team, where you are marketing your business? Do you give out flyers? What are you doing actually to promote and optimize on your business? If the person can master optimization with the 4 branches that he has, I believe clients from outside will come reaching in for him. He doesn't even need to go and open a branch somewhere else. If he can master his marketing and brand awareness, people will come looking for him. If he has a website and there's an outreach that's being done by a church, he takes pictures, he puts it on his website. People not only get the content, but they get the photograph. So what photographers usually do is, when, say now, my church has an outreach that they're doing, the pictures that we post on our website or on our social media platform can actually have the icon of the photographer or the name of the photographer. So these people see that this is who took the picture, and they can reach out in that sense. And when you are offering something for free, try and make it brand relevant as well. If you're giving a t-shirt for free, put your brand on it, because somebody will be wearing it and somebody will be seeing your brand. So brand awareness is very important. Just focus on optimizing. Make sure that you use your control measures in your business to grow your business, not just planting. We have to cultivate, grow, establish ourselves, get to a point of maturity. Then we can branch out into different different areas or states, because branching out takes a lot of money. It takes money from the business that you could have otherwise used half of it to actually bring more out of the business.
That's so interesting, because I mean that's there's no better way to answer it, right? Instead of expanding, which will require you more capital, why don't you optimize? And I think
Yes.
the question that you outright that you pointed out is, I mean, are you satisfied with the sale that are coming in from the 4 branches already? If not, then the idea that you should be nursing right now is how to increase sales, and that's the optimization that you were just talking about. You know, how to make sure
Yes.
that you get to your maximum capacity in terms of clients, in terms of reach, in the 4 states that you currently are, before you now think about expanding. And an interesting thing that you might want to consider, it just flew across my head, is, I mean, you might not even need to go put a branch somewhere else. There are many for If you have social capital, if you have a brand, which you were just mentioning, right? If you, Obiora, if your studio has a brand which you should be working on now, because you can take a photo for $1,000. Someone else takes the same photo for $100,000. The difference is the brand, right? So you decide what kind of photographer you want to be. If you want to be the person that shoots, I mean, there are photos I've seen that are sold at $1 million. I mean, there are photos like that. Those guys, that many of those guys that take those photos, don't even have studios, right? What they have is a brand at best, right? So I think that's one. And then again, another thing is, what's your business model? How do you want to run your business? What business model do you have? What's your profit making strategy? What's your idea of your cost? How are you getting costs? Who are your direct customers? I mean, how do you source for your equipment? There's the whole, I mean, it was done by Alexander Osterswalder, so you might want to go check that on YouTube. His name is Alexander Oxterswalder. Yeah, hopefully I pronounced that properly, but just if you find it, right? So he talks extensively about drawing business models for your business, and by the time you draw a business model, you know exactly how you are going to make money. You know how to optimize. You know exactly how your idea is going to bring you money. You know your clients. You know the very way to reach them, and then you go ahead and reach them. There's T.Y. Bailey in Nigeria. She makes some of the most amazing images. She shoots for high-end guys. She may just take 2 3 photos in a week, but she's okay for the year. you know and so imagine you take 1 photo every week, high-end photos every week. You're doing great. You don't need a lot of capital for that. It's the same camera, it's the same equipment. What you have is a skill that has a brand attached to it. So you have a skill, and then you have a brand. People understand that your photos are different because of this, right? Because it is you. People are going to pay extra because it is you. So that's why, like Julia said, you need to invest heavily in your brand. So instead of going out to to expand and stuff. How about you use that money to build a brand, a reputable brand, that people, I mean, I want to take a photo from you and show people that Obiora actually took this. Say, oh, Obiora took this, you know. And then suddenly I'm a big boy because Obiora takes my photos, right? That's a brand. So that's something that you might want to consider. If you wear, there are certain wristwatches you wear. The moment you wear them, people just perceive you as a kind of person. It's not because you are nice or because you're fine or because you're whatever. It's because of the watch. They see the watch and they know the watch. Only someone like this can wear this kind of watch. Only someone like this can afford this kind of thing. And just talking about branding, because it's really interesting. The subject of branding is broad, but maybe we're almost we're going to close this in a moment. But a brand is the essence of what you do. The brand is how people perceive you. The brand is not your name, it's not your logo, it's not your business card, it's not your office, it's none of those. The brand is how people perceive you. Another word for a brand is impression. When I see you, when I hear your name, when I see a picture of you, what do I think? Right? And that's the brand. That's what you need to build. Now you make great designs. You have a nice logo. You have a great way of doing things. You hire a beautiful receptionist. You do all those things to make sure that you send an impression. And all the things that you do to send that impression is branding, right? And all that is done is in an effort to give you a brand. And that's really interesting. There are few companies, there are not a lot of them. There are few companies that have a brand, right? Coca-Cola has a brand, Nike has a brand. People don't take Coca-Cola in the US because they take it because it's cultural. It's not just a drink. It's culture. Coca-Cola is culture for them, right? And so that's the brand. Nike is you know someone said this, and I think it's really really amazing. He said if Nike decided to build a hotel today, we might be able to guess what it will look like because we know what Nike can do. We have an idea of who Nike is. So I'm guessing if Nike were to build a hotel, you wouldn't just have gold everywhere and stuff to communicate luxury. You are going to see a hotel that is lively, right? You are going to see something that is encouraging. You are going to see a place that will motivate you. You are going to be in an environment where, whatever they do to achieve that, we can guess what Nike will do if they build a hotel, right? Even though Nike is a clothing brand, is a clothing lifestyle brand, so to say, right? Or sports lifestyle brand. Now, but there are many hotels that if they decide to make shoes, we don't know what it will look like. We don't. So if you, I mean, if you are to do certain kind of things, we should be able to guess that if I see an advert from Rolls Royce and my eyes are closed, I might be able to tell that that's a Rolls Royce advert, even if I've not heard the name Rolls Royce. if Nike is making an advert, I can guess that that's Nike, even if they've not said, yeah, we're the one, Nike. I can guess. That means that I have an impression of them and I know what they are. I can guess what they can do. I might be able to tell what they can do. And that's where, when a business gets to that point, 10 years ago, no, I think it was in 2003, 2000, I can't remember. They did an audit of Coca-Cola's books, and then the brand, the drink itself was a couple hundred billions, right? The worth of the drink, the factory, and everything around the world. But the brand was valued at over 700 billion. So we're not even running a company, we're running a brand. That's what we're doing. So it's really important. There are many. Is the question of branding is something that you should pay attention to. Accenture they did a rebrand. I think it cost about $10 million to do a rebrand. I know a couple of companies that have spent $200 million to do a rebrand. They've spent $80 million, $70 million to do a rebrand. And what that simply says is that they understand the value of a brand. That's why they are going to spend that amount of money. That's why they are going to go to that level to build one. So Obiora, I know we have answered your question and we have answered many other questions in between. So, but I think you get the point, right? The answer to your question is simple, just like Julia said. I mean, optimize rather than expand at the moment, because when you optimize, then there's less risk. You deal with less risk, and you are able to see inside your business. Because it's easy to go from 1 to 7, but from 7 to 10 is a whole lot of work. It's easier to go from 1 to 7 than to go from 7 to 10. And I'm guessing in your business, you are at 7 now. You've been able to move from 1 to 7. Now you need to make a huge difference. What you do between 7 and 10 is what I'm guessing will define, how good your business is, or the next level of your business, which is usually where the hard work is. So yeah, thank you so much. I know you got your answer and then many other answers. And this has been so much fun. Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for
It's a
coming.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for
And,
hosting.
and we should have more conversations like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I look forward to a lot more conversations like this. And yeah, everyone, I mean, if you can see this on YouTube or wherever you're watching, just drop a comment and let us know that you're watching. And Julia she's a director of Make in Africa, and we're going to be showing you guys a lot more about that very soon. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being so so deep. The word is deep.
It calls Auntie deep now.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting one. All right. So this is gonna happen again on Wednesday next week. It's called What's on Your Mind. So you know what? Do send your questions via email to convener@makeinnigeria.com. You can also, depending on where you're watching from, drop a comment on Instagram. You can drop a comment with your question. Send a DM, preferably send a DM. If you drop a comment, we might not see it, but if you send a DM, we should see it. So drop a DM, drop an email, right? On Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on all the channels. It's Uche Onochie, right? Drop drop the messages there, and then next week Wednesday, make sure that you're live, because we're definitely going to be answering your questions. Okay. And yes, Uche Onochie is probably back next week Wednesday, so you'll have to deal with me. All right. So finally for today, there's a close group of people that Uche Onochie mentors, and if you want to be a part of that, which you should, it's really interesting, because you get all these and a couple more things. You get close mentoring, right? Mentoring is a key part of becoming who you want to be. Most of the people that we admire to be had mentors. Even if you don't know their mentors, many of them talk about their mentors, which is really important. And the privilege of mentoring, grants you access to things that you probably would have made mistakes in, but because of the privilege of mentoring, you are able to, someone just speaks 10 years of his life and compresses it and gives it to you in an advice. That's to help you to not make such mistakes. And you should be a part of that. And the link is linktr, linktr.ee/Uche Onochie, linktr.ee/Uche Onochie. And yes, you see the Telegram option, you see the WhatsApp option. Choose WhatsApp. That's a personal advice to me. Okay. So, all right. Thank you so much, Julia. And I hope to see you sometime soon. And we should do this a lot more. So, guys, if we're doing this again, we're definitely going to let you know. Okay. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll see you soon. All right.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.